Aron Kaufman was the beating heart of Fast and Loud for 6 unforgettable years. Viewers admired his ability to create seemingly impossible cars in impossibly short time frames. Yet, in 2017, at the peak of his fame and success, he walked away. Not just from the cameras, but from millions of dollars. Behind the scenes, things had gone terribly wrong. The friendship and partnership between Aron and Richard Rawlings had fractured beyond repair. Money disputes, broken trust, and a painful loss of creative control all played their part. The final betrayal came when Aron realized he was unknowingly training his own replacement, and a disastrous truck build that nearly ended in tragedy was the last straw. What he did next shocked not only Richard, but also everyone at Discovery Channel. Aron Kaufman was born on January 26, 1982, in the small Texas town of Crowley. His upbringing was far from glamorous. His father, David Gerald Kaufman, worked grueling, 12-hour shifts as a mechanic, earning only about $8.50 an hour back in 1992. The family lived in a modest trailer park, where Aron shared a cramped room with his younger brother, Jared. Despite the financial struggles, something extraordinary began to emerge from that small, oil-stained world. At just 10 years old, Aron showed signs of brilliance. Using nothing but a kitchen knife and an old screwdriver, he took apart the family's broken lawnmower and not only repaired it but actually made it run better, faster, and stronger than before, improving its performance by about 15%. This wasn't a fluke. Every night, he secretly studied his father's repair manuals, often falling asleep with grease-stained pages stuck to his hands. His curiosity had no limits. By the time he was 8, he was already driving his grandfather's 1968 Ford F-100 pickup truck. That old vehicle became his first love, a symbol of freedom, curiosity, and mechanical wonder. The smell of gasoline and oil imprinted itself on his soul, shaping the man he would become. By age 12, Aron had turned his backyard into a makeshift workshop. He built homemade go-karts out of lawnmower engines and old shopping carts. These weren't mere toys. Some of them could reach speeds of 35 miles per hour. Determined to master his craft, he borrowed a stick welder and taught himself welding. But his early experiments came with a price. In December 1994, while testing one of his custom exhaust systems, it exploded. Molten metal seared his right arm, leaving him with 23 stitches and weeks of immobility. His mother wanted him to quit, working with tools, but Aron had already hidden a spare set in an old shed behind their trailer. 3 days before Christmas that year, the family was forced to spend their entire $200 holiday fund on hospital bills. That painful memory stayed with him forever, a reminder of sacrifice and determination. When Aron reached high school in 1998, academics quickly took a back seat. He missed 127 out of 180 school days, not out of laziness, but because he was busy working. For just $4.25 an hour, he repaired cars at unlicensed auto shops across Dallas County. At 16, he completed a complex transmission rebuild that 3 certified mechanics had declared impossible. Aron did it in just 11 hours and earned his first real paycheck, $200 cash. The school principal once searched his locker and found $1,400 in crumpled bills from his weekend repair jobs, more than many adults in Crowley made in an entire month. His shop teacher, recognizing his gift, quietly covered for his absences to keep him enrolled. Night after night, Aron snuck out of his bedroom window with a flashlight to fix engines, returning home covered in oil and burns. His parents thought. He was self-destructive, but the truth was he was building his future. At 18 in early 2000, Aron dropped out of college after just 1 semester despite holding a 3.7 GPA and a partial scholarship worth $3,200 per year. His father was devastated. He had worked extra shifts just to help pay for his son's education. But Aron had made up his mind. He was tired of classrooms and doubters. When one of his engineering professors dismissed his custom transmission design as unrealistic, Despite Aron having built it successfully from $50 worth of scrap parts, he realized school wasn't where his future lay. At that time, he was already $4,800 in debt, having borrowed money from loan sharks charging brutal 28% interest rates. His decision to drop out plunged the family into crisis. They couldn't pay their bills, and for 3 months, their trailer had no electricity. They lit candles each night while Aron worked tirelessly to find enough repair jobs to keep them afloat. Then came one of the darkest moments of his young life. On September 12, 1999, Aron attempted a dangerous dirt bike jump over a 15-foot ravine at 65 mph using a heavily modified 78-horsepower bike. He crashed violently, shattering his right wrist in 3 places. The surgery required 2 titanium pins and cost $8,400, money the family didn't have. To pay for it, they sold their only car, that same beloved 1968 Ford F-100. But fate had more in store. In 2002, a 20-year-old Aron met Richard Rawlings at a Dallas garage. Richard immediately noticed his raw talent and offered him a job at his fledgling shop, Gas Monkey Garage. What started as a small collaboration soon evolved into a 15-year partnership that would change their lives forever. Aron became the shop's lead fabricator, transforming Gas Monkey into something extraordinary. He wasn't just fixing cars, he was laying the foundation of a brand that would eventually dominate TV screens. His skill was unmatched. In 2008, he rebuilt a rusted 1968 Chevrolet Corvette, restoring it by hand and turning an $8,500 investment into a $58,500 sale, a $50,000 profit that proved Aron's genius. 2 years later, he attempted a nearly impossible feat, merging a 1970 Dodge Charger with a Viper V10 engine. The project almost bankrupted the shop, but when it finally worked, it became a legend in Dallas car culture. By 2011, tensions began to rise. During the restoration of a 1972 Mustang, safety concerns clashed with financial pressure. Aron accused Richard of prioritizing profits over safety, their first major argument. Later that year, disaster struck when Aron's 1969 Chevy C10 exploded on a drag strip, injuring a spectator named Maria Rodriguez. The insurance company refused to pay, and Aron personally covered her $75,000 medical expenses. The experience shook him deeply, causing him to step away from racing for 2 years. Then came Fast and Loud. When the show premiered in June 2012, it catapulted Gas Monkey Garage and Aron to stardom. But behind the fame was exhaustion. In the first season alone, Aron and his crew built 12 cars in just 24 weeks, working over 110 hours a week. He often slept inside the cars and showered behind the shop with a hose. The constant grind wore him down. By 2016, burnout and growing creative differences reached a breaking point. One of their biggest challenges came with the rebuild of a wrecked 1991 Ferrari F40. Which Richard and Dennis Collins had purchased for $400,000. Aron poured his soul into the project, but Richard repeatedly overruled his decisions, even repainting the finished car black instead of Ferrari red. Though the build became legendary, it exposed their irreconcilable differences in philosophy. By 2016, the final straw came with the De Tomaso Pantera EcoBoost build. Creative conflicts, lost trust, and mounting pressure finally pushed Aron to do the unthinkable, walk away from Fast and Loud, from the fame, and from the empire he helped build. His departure marked the end of an era, not just for Gas Monkey Garage, but for millions of fans who had watched him turn sweat, grit, and dreams into roaring machines. It was one of the toughest projects Aron Kaufman and his team had ever taken on, and for him, it was the one that finally crossed a line. He later admitted that this particular car went far beyond what could realistically be completed within the tight production deadlines of a TV show. Even though he was only a few weeks behind schedule, the pressure from producers and sponsors was relentless. Every day felt like a battle between doing things right and doing them fast. The car's 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, fitted with full race-grade motorsport turbos, produced an impressive 472 horsepower and 498 lb-ft of torque. But none of that mattered to Aron. What mattered was the integrity of the work. He believed every build should be a masterpiece of craftsmanship, not a rushed performance for the camera. This project clashed with everything he stood for as a mechanic. It made him realize that the kind of cars he truly wanted to create were simply too ambitious and too honest for television. That car became a turning point, a fork in the road where Aron began questioning everything about his place on Fast and Loud. Around that same period, Aron's personal life started to crumble under the weight of fame. The non-stop filming schedule and mounting expectations began to take a toll on his mental and physical health. Panic attacks became so severe that he thought about walking away mid-season. The pressure was crushing and infected every corner of his life. His relationship with his girlfriend, his bond with his dogs, and even his connection with his employees. Things reached a breaking point when he had to undergo an emergency appendectomy. Despite his fragile condition, he returned to work just days later because the cameras couldn't stop rolling. Former colleagues would later recall working such brutal hours that they forgot what normal life even looked like. Behind the scenes, Aron was breaking down, but on television, viewers only saw the calm, collected, bearded genius of Gas Monkey Garage. In 2016, the same car that had caused so much stress resurfaced as a major source of conflict. Despite the incredible amount of effort Aron had poured into it, Richard Rawlings publicly criticized him for missing deadlines. Behind closed doors, tempers flared. They clashed over what could reasonably be achieved on a limited budget and time frame. Aron accused Richard of making reckless budget cuts that compromised quality, while Richard argued that the show needed to stay on schedule no matter what. It became clear that drama was starting to matter more than craftsmanship. By 2017, things came to a boil during a high-pressure motorcycle build. Richard began micromanaging every detail, even overruling Aron in front of the entire crew. That was the final straw. Aron closed his office door, distanced himself from the team, and one day, in the middle of filming, simply walked off set. Production halted for 3 days as Discovery Channel executives scrambled to calm things down. But the truth was, the tension had been brewing for months. What once was a brotherly friendship had turned into a business negotiation, and Aron had finally had enough. Then came an even deeper blow. In 2016, leaked documents revealed that Aron, the creative backbone and fan favorite of Fast and Loud, was earning far less than he deserved. Insiders claimed his work contributed to roughly 80% of the show's success, yet his contract didn't reflect that value. While his net worth hovered around $3 million in 2021, Richard's earnings had soared far beyond that. To make matters worse, Aron later discovered that he was unknowingly training mechanics who were being groomed to replace him. That betrayal stung deeply. He realized he had been both financially and creatively exploited. By 2017, he referred to the garage as a creative prison. In interviews and podcasts, he confessed that Gas Monkey Garage had stopped being a real workshop and had turned into a TV set. Every build was being designed for the camera, not for the craft. Quality took a backseat to storylines and ratings, and that broke his heart. He said he felt trapped in a system where spectacle mattered more than skill. That same year, another betrayal sealed his decision to leave for good. During a custom semi-truck project, Aron warned the crew about serious safety issues. But Richard, eager for good footage, ordered the test drive to go ahead anyway. The truck nearly failed during the run. Furious, Aron made it clear he wouldn't risk human lives for television ratings. He refused to have his name attached to shortcuts that could get someone hurt. On March 6, 2017, Aron quietly announced on Facebook that he was leaving Gas Monkey Garage. Fans were stunned. It felt like a breakup letter rather than a career move. He wrote that the last 5 years had felt like 20, emotionally and physically draining him. The post went viral, and fans flooded social media with shock and sadness. No one had seen it coming, but the drama didn't stop there. In June 2018, Richard Rawlings faced a $6 million lawsuit from Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, accused of sabotaging a $3.5 million sale. Aron was pulled into the legal mess as a key witness. The case exposed just how toxic things had become behind the scenes. Though the lawsuit was settled in August 2019, the damage to reputations was lasting. When Aron launched his own show, Shifting Gears, in 2018, fans had high hopes, but the show stumbled almost immediately. Ratings dropped, reviews were harsh, and even loyal viewers said it lacked the spark that Fast and Loud had. Aron looked exhausted on camera, openly admitting that he was burned out. The show was canceled after just 12 episodes. Then in 2019, another scandal hit. Clients sued Aron for abandoning more than $300,000 worth of unfinished custom builds, including a Ferrari F40, a 1969 Corvette L88, and a Shelby Super Snake Mustang. Payments had been made, but the cars were left incomplete. One of the Ferraris even ended up seized in a separate fraud case. These lawsuits seriously damaged his reputation. Yet, in 2020, a surprising twist came. Leaked emails showed that Richard had offered Aron a chance to return, doubling his old salary and giving him full creative control. Richard told him to come back on his own terms. Aron refused without hesitation. His answer was simple. You chose TV, I chose building. That was the end of it. When Aron finally left Fast and Loud in 2017, many believed he was making a daring move. And his first independent project under Light Fabrication proved them right. He developed a revolutionary custom chassis for classics Ford F-100 trucks and priced it at $150,000. A staggering figure considering most complete F-100 builds sold for less than half that. But Aron's craftsmanship was on another level. With over 15 years at Gas Monkey, his metalwork had become legendary. His chassis featured handcrafted suspension geometry, precise mounts, and welding so clean it looked like aerospace engineering. Critics initially accused him of overpricing due to his celebrity status, but one look at his work silenced them. Then disaster struck. In 2019, a fire tore through Light Fabrication, destroying around $50,000 worth of inventory. Investigators discovered that the cause was faulty wiring, ironically installed by Aron himself. To save money, he had skipped hiring a licensed electrician and wired the expansion by hand. A simple mistake nearly sank the company. A welding torch left plugged in over the weekend overloaded the circuit and ignited the fire. Among the destroyed items were rare 1960s Ford parts Aron had spent years collecting. Worse still, the shop wasn't fully insured. He paid for everything out of pocket, refusing to let the setback shut him down. But it cost him time, money, and morale. In 2020, Aron launched electric conversion kits for vintage F-100 trucks using Tesla Model S batteries, priced between $35,000 and $45,000. Traditionalists were outraged. Purists accused him of ruining history. At the 2020 SEMA show, he even got into a heated 45-minute debate with car historian Jerry Hathaway, who called the conversions sacrilege. Hundreds of angry emails poured in, and some customers canceled orders worth over $200,000. But then, something unexpected happened. Young buyers loved it. Within 6 months, 150 people placed deposits for electric builds. The controversy had drawn a clear line between tradition and innovation, and Aron found himself standing proudly in the middle of it. Few people knew that back in 2018. Aron had come dangerously close to shutting Light down. After leaving television, he lost his $35,000 per episode income and was buried under $750,000 in startup debt. Sales lagged, and he even had to sell his beloved 1963 Ford Falcon, built for the Pikes Peak Hill climb, for just $65,000 to make payroll. After 5 banks rejected his loan applications, he was running out of options. The turnaround came only after a $400,000 partnership with Restad Air, which saved the business. Still, Aron had already laid off several employees and narrowly avoided bankruptcy. By 2024, the story had completely reversed. Light Fabrication was thriving. Its biggest success came from custom F-100 wheels, generating $2 million annually. Influencers showcased them on Instagram, and soon orders poured in from across the globe. Online sales now made up nearly 80% of revenue. Aron had turned his local shop into a global brand without the help of television. Yet behind all that success, his personal life was still rocky. Rumors circulated about trouble in his marriage to Charlene Fleming, his longtime partner whom he married in 2018. Friends said his relentless work schedule caused strain at home. He often appeared at events alone, without his wedding ring, and though they tried therapy in 2021, Aron has remained silent about the current state of their relationship. After Fast and Loud, Aron also faced a mental health crisis. The transition from national TV star to small business owner hit him harder than anyone realized. He suffered from severe anxiety and panic attacks, attending therapy twice a week, including EMDR sessions to recover from years of public stress. Slowly, he regained control. But in March 2021, he nearly lost his life again when his appendix ruptured late one night at the shop. Found unconscious beside a half-built truck, he spent 6 hours in surgery and endured a second operation due to infection. The shop shut down for 4 months, costing around $340,000 in lost business. That close call finally made him slow down and hire more help.